Top 10 Most Luxurious American Muscle Cars from the Past. 1971 was the last of the line for the Plymouth GTX due to the increasing safety regulations and the demands of the public due to the oil embargoes. From the start, the GTX was marketed as the gentleman's muscle car because it took the power of the Plymouth Roadrunner and added luxurious aspects to make it more appealing to some of its consumers. Under the hood would be the 426 Hemi or the large 446 pack that could push out 385 horses and accelerate from 0 to 60 in 6.5 seconds. The additions to the interior started with plush carpeting and simulated wood grain, pleated bucket seating, power windows, power steering, and power brakes. The 1957 Thunderbird is a well-known car for its beauty and luxury, but even though it can be an all-out muscle car, not many thought of it in such a way. There were many options for under the hood, with one of the best being the small 3 and 12 V8 with dual 4-barrel Holley carburetors slapped on top. This engine was reported to offer up to 285 horsepower and could shoot from 0 to 60 in 7.8 seconds. The interior was full of everything a luxury car of the decade should have, such as plush seating, bubble-type instrument panel, and chrome styling. To make it even better, the 1957 Thunderbird had dial-o-matic seats that moved the entire bench seat all the way back when the engine was turned off, making it easier to climb in and out. The muscle car wars of the 1960s and 1970s brought upon the car-making industry a ton of vehicles with power and torque, but Buick had a reputation to live up to. The unofficial slogan for the decade that helped Buick sell cars to more discerning consumers was "Going fast with class." The 1970 Buick GS 455 offered the 455 big block that pushed out the most torque of any muscle car built during that time, generating a ground-pounding 5 and 10 pound-feet and offering up to 360 horsepower. On the inside, you could find vinyl-trimmed bench or bucket seats, chrome-trimmed gauges, a large spoke racing steering wheel, and power steering and brakes. Oldsmobile sales brochures in 1966 shouted to the world that the Olds 442 cuts the mustard all ways. It was pushed out onto the market with an all-new exterior look that matched the luxurious additions to the interior. Vinyl bench or bucket seats, chrome-trimmed dashboard components, and power accessories to create luxury, but that is not what the 1966 Olds 442 was best known for. Under the hood was stuffed an L78 400 CI that had a built-up cam with stiffer springs, dual inlet air cleaner, and of course the dual air induction system with hood scoops. This combination created a luxurious muscle car that could produce 360 horsepower and accelerate from 0 to 60 in around 6.5 seconds. The Mercury was not as well known for its muscle cars as some of its rivals, but in 1966, the carmaker produced one of the best that the young consumers had ever seen, the Cyclone CJ. The inside was not too extraordinarily luxurious, but it was fitted with vinyl seats and wood grain styling. The large steering wheel made control over the car more manageable, which was an absolute must when a 428 Cobra Jet engine was installed under the hood. The 1969 Mercury Cyclone CJ could push out 4 40-pound-feet of torque and produce around 335 horses. 0 to 60 times for this car averaged just over 6 seconds. The 1965 Pontiac Catalina 2+2 was fondly called the big brother to the Pontiac GTO. It was a large vehicle filled with luxury inside the cab. It had vinyl bucket seats and chrome trim on all the dashboard components. The exterior had fancy molding, trim, and badging to make the car stand out. The Nimble Brute was the name given to the car because of one main thing, the 6.9-liter engine that could produce about 356 horsepower and could sprint from 0 to 60 in 7 seconds. It was a big and comfortable luxury car that could blast down the track and crouch through the curves of any road track on or off the sanctioned strips. The early 1960s brought out some of the most luxurious cars because the trending demands of the consumers clamored for more. Buick at the time was known for producing some of the most luxurious vehicles, so it stepped up its game with the 1962 Buick Wildcat. The interior was full of luxury, starting with the bucket seats designed to hug. On the floor was a convenient floor shifter, and the dash had a full array of instrument gauges, including a tachometer and electric clock. Under the hood was 6.6-liter nailhead V8 that could push out 325 horsepower and accelerate from a standstill to 60 in around 10 seconds. The 1966 Ford 7-liter is one of those muscle cars that is rarely heard about. It came at the time of the decade when large-sized cars were doomed to the junkyard because of the mid-sized muscle in production, such as the Ford Mustang. However, the 7-liter was still a powerful luxury car for the time. Under the hood was either the 427 or 428, of which the latter could produce 345 horses and could scoot down the track from 0 to 60 in 8.8 seconds, but it did it in style. The interior boosted simulated wood grain, 3-spoke wood grain wrapped steering wheel, power window controls, and the floor shifter in the center console, and a 7-liter badge on the glove box to differentiate it from the base Galaxy model. The 1963 Studebaker Avanti R2 was a car designed and put into production within a year of its idea. The company was not doing so well with sales, so the Avanti was meant to bring the company back to life and to move them forward towards success. Unfortunately, even though the Avanti was a fantastic car, it was too little too late. The 1963 Avanti R2 only had a 289 cubic inch engine under the hood, but when the Paxton supercharger was placed on top in the factory, the engine could push out over 289 horsepower. This allowed it to gain speed from 0 to 60 in around 8 seconds. The interior was beyond luxurious, offering contoured bucket seats in the front, a padded dashboard for safety, and black gauges that glowed red, all trimmed out in chrome. As can be guessed, the engine under the hood of the Monte Carlo SS was the mighty 454 big block V8. The 7.4-liter engine could push out right around 360 horses, rocketing it from 0 to 60 in a mere 7 seconds, and down the quarter-mile track in just over 14 seconds. The sad thing is that the car was produced in limited numbers because of a labor strike, so it was not as popular as it should have been. On the inside, you can find a large, hand-grip-formed steering wheel, chrome trim, and a floor shifter designed to wrap an entire hand around, making it one of the top luxury cars for Chevy. So we have shared with you top 10 most luxurious American muscle cars from the past. Hope they will be useful to you. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.